What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we are going to take a look at Brightburn, the new horror film that takes an evil look at Superman's origin story. Now, I'm going to probably talk spoilers a little bit here, and I'm going to give my opinion on the film, and then we're going to talk about the bigger picture of Superman and how this film made me really happy from that perspective. So, spoilers, yada, yada, yada. You've heard the warning. There you go. All right, so overall, I very much enjoyed this movie. It's not perfect, and there's a lot that I can say that not that I had problems with, but I feel that they left a lot of potential to really flush the story and the characters out. The movie's like an hour and a half long. I feel it could have used another 20-25 minutes of character development to develop Brandon Breyer, who is our Clark Kent in this movie. But it did a great job. So it starts out, and it's the Superman origin story. It takes place in Brightburn, Kansas, and his parents, they raise him, and I think we jump forward like 10 or 12 years. Once the movie starts, he crashes, they find him, movie jumps forward like 10 or 12 years, and then that's where all of the issues start happening, and he starts realizing his powers, and he's kind of haunted from his past. It's a really kind of paint by the numbers Superman origin story, but in reverse. And the thing that I loved about it is it had certain references from Action Comics. It had references to Superman Returns. It had situations where he's defining his symbol, because Superman's symbol is so iconic. And the Brandon Breyer symbol in this, they put such care into that. There's subtle nods and references all through this that shows the respect for Superman. And they're sitting here flipping the script on Superman's origin story, flipping the script on Superman as a hero, but some way they still manage to respect Superman more than Man of Steel or the DCEU has up to this point. And it's amazing. You're making Superman evil in this movie. Yet, me as a fan of Superman, I'm watching this and I'm like, you're turning the Man of Steel. You're turning him evil. And I'm appreciating the care and the respect that it's going into this film, because while you're taking that evil turn, you're showing me nods and references that respects the mythology of the character. You respect who he is. You respect that you are changing everything, but at the same time, you're respecting everything. It's unreal how they were managed to pull this off. And my goodness, the deaths in this movie were brutal. Like, extremely brutal. I had to look away at the first death. Again, spoilers. There's a scene. There's a scene in the diner, all right? And she's looking up at the light, and it explodes, and a piece of the shrapnel of the glass lands in her eyeball. In her eyeball. And you're watching her pull it out, and the sound, oh my God. Brutal. Brutal. I mean, it was really hard to watch. The gore was on full display. There was a nod. It was kind of a subtle nod. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, I did not catch it myself, so I'm not going to take credit for catching it. But we've all seen the iconic Action Comics with him lifting the vehicle. The same thing happened in Superman Returns. And there's a moment in this movie that kind of throws a subtle nod to that. And it's not obvious, but when I saw someone else bring this point up, it was actually, I was like, holy crap, I didn't catch that. But it's kind of a nod to that imagery. And then there's a death scene in that. And what's his name? Badger? Badger from Breaking Bad is in this, which it was a little strange, because if you've seen Breaking Bad, Badger's such a goddamn idiot. So seeing him in this movie in a more serious role was kind of distracting, not gonna lie. But that death scene where the truck is picked up by Brandon Breyer and dropped on its face, and Badger, who I can't remember his name in the movie, but Badger kind of face plants into the steering wheel, and it kind of rips his jaw off, like his mouth kind of goes over the top of the steering wheel, and it kind of rips his jaw off. Brutal! Brutal and terrifying. And I'll say this, eliminating the Superman element from the movie, okay? Eliminating the Superman element, I say this is a really good horror film. It's a really good, creepy horror film. Just forget the Superman angle and watch it from a horror film perspective. I thought it was great. But this is being thought of in the Superman sense, so I felt that there were a lot of development opportunities missed. I didn't have a problem with anything really that happened in the movie. I thought the execution was great, I thought the atmosphere was great, I thought the acting was great, and I thought the dialogue was great. But there were missed opportunities, and that's where I go back to give me 20 to 25 minutes more of character development and opportunities to show his struggle within good and evil, or to show his full-fledged turn to evil, or to show him interacting more with his classmates. I just didn't get enough of that. But overall, that's not a criticism of the movie, because the things that did happen in the movie with the limited budget they had, and let me remind you, Man of Steel, if I'm not mistaken, Man of Steel had like a $250 million budget. And this film had, if I'm not mistaken, like a $9 million budget. And they made this more of a respectable Superman origin story than Man of Steel. That tells you everything you need to know about Man of Steel. Now, I know there's Man of Steel fans out there. I know you're going to downvote my video. I know you're going to hate me, and that's fine. I can take it. I'm ready for it. Man of Steel is a shit Superman movie. It's a good alien origin movie where it's about some alien coming to Earth trying to find his way, yada, yada, yada. It's a terrible Superman movie. And the majority of people that say they enjoy Man of Steel always tell me, yeah, I love Man of Steel because I never cared about Superman until I saw Man of Steel. Yo, that's good because you didn't see Superman. You saw someone dressed up as Superman. You saw a random alien that they threw a Superman logo on, but it's not Superman. So with Brightburn, turning Superman full-fledged evil, going against everything that Superman stands for as a character, every single thing that he stands for, yet the care and the respect for the mythology and the history of Superman, the nods were still there. They understood who they were dealing with as a character. And that, to me, again, the movie is not perfect, and I would not say it's a great film. It's a very enjoyable film, and as a horror movie, it's really good. There was just too many missed opportunities to maybe fully flesh out the character, but for what they did and the respect that they gave Superman, it really made me happy. It made me very happy, and it still makes me really frustrated with the DCEU and that garbage attempt at Superman that they tried to give us. And it really brings in more things that I could bring to the discussion about how Luke Skywalker's been treated and things like that, but I'm not going to go down that road. I'll leave Superman in place of Luke Skywalker here. I don't believe the DCEU version of Superman is as bad as Luke Skywalker was in The Last Jedi, but it's still bad, and it's just unreal that we have this film. They can't really reference Superman. They can't really tie this to Superman, so they're trying to give all of these subtle nods and show the respect to the character. And they did a great job of it. Didn't even have the rights. And you sold me more on Superman and the respect you have for him than Man of Steel did. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, there's also the shared universe aspect of this. Spoilers for the end. And I will say this. I know this comes from James Gunn. We all know the James Gunn situation. I'm not really in the business of just boycotting things because there's a person attached to a project that I don't like. We all know that I personally boycotted Captain Marvel. It clearly had no impact on the box office since it did $1 billion. But with this whole thing with James Gunn and people like, I'm not going to support it because James Gunn is involved. I mean, when you start going down that rabbit hole, it's an endless rabbit hole. I mean, so what if somebody's on a project that's friends with James Gunn? Are you then not going to support that? Or maybe James Gunn is part of a project and you're not really aware that he's on the project. Like, it's just an endless rabbit hole. The point is, James Gunn's involved. There is one moment that you can find a little kind of like, really, man? And Michael Rooker, is that his name? Michael Rooker from Guardians of the Galaxy and from The Walking Dead is in it. And it seems that he's taking an Alex Jones-esque personality, a YouTube personality, talking about conspiracies. But the reality of it is the conspiracies he's talking about are actually real within the film. So while he's trying to, it appears that they're trying to make him out to be Alex Jones. But in reality, if you're trying to take a shot at Alex Jones, you're actually verifying Alex Jones is legit. Because Michael Rooker is actually legit in this scene, so it's kind of confusing. So I wasn't sure about that, but the bigger point there is that they've introduced a goddamn shared universe. So if this film is successful, we're going to see a shared universe attempt at an evil Justice League style, Avengers style cinematic universe. Amazing. So again, it did everything better than Man of Steel. Everything. And I love it for that. So thank you so much to the filmmakers involved for respecting the man, the myth, the legend, Superman, the greatest icon in the history of comics. Thank you so much for that. And in isolation, this was a really good horror movie. And I appreciated it from a take on Superman, on an evil take on Superman. I appreciated that. So anyway, I know I'm going to piss people off. I'm probably going to make this title something that's going to piss off the Man of Steel fans, and that's fine. Look, I don't care if you like the movie. You can like it. I've never said you can't like it. But it's a terrible Superman movie. Terrible. So like many times I've talked about that I like X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, do I think that it did a good job of portraying Deadpool? No. But I hate Deadpool as a character. Therefore, I appreciate, I'm like, hey, I don't hate that. I like that they shut his mouth because I can't stand Deadpool. But I understand that it's offensively bad to Deadpool fans. So as long as you can have the understanding and the context that Man of Steel is a shit Superman movie, you can like it, and that's fine. But it's not a good Superman movie. It's terrible in that respect. Good movie about a random alien coming to Earth to try to find his way. And that's it. But Superman doesn't stand there when buildings are collapsing to the fucking ground so he can make out with some chick that he has no chemistry with. Superman doesn't do that. Superman doesn't destroy multi-million-dollar government equipment just because he can. Superman doesn't do that. Superman respects the laws of Earth. He respects the military. He respects police officers. And he's going to save people if there's collapsing fucking buildings around him. And I'm so tired of these DCEU fans going, it was his first day on the job. He's learning. You have to learn to go save people in collapsing buildings that you're responsible for? Are you kidding me? So Brightburn is a better Superman movie than Man of Steel. It just is. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.